What did Alan Shepard sneak on Apollo 14? Da,
Ooh.
da, da, da.
Da, 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 da. Why do they call a city block a block?
This is totally useless information with Nick and Roy. Listen, laugh, and learn.
Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Roy. And this week we scoured the internet to find out this totally useless information just for you.
Plus, we have a special guest later in the show, a traffic cop who will tell us a thing or two about breaking the law, which we know a lot about. Plus, we'll answer your questions in our mailbag section. And in the news, not only did he steal my luggage, he's wearing my shirt.
Totally useless information. It's everything you never needed to know.
Sports. Play ball.
Thank you for
Nick, we've been indicted. We've been indicted many times, but never convicted.
No,
So
no,
don't
no.
say that.
No, really looking forward to our conversation. We'll have a traffic cop, an actual real life traffic cop, and he's there on purpose. I always remember movies and TV shows where if a cop or detective does something wrong, you're going to traffic services, but this traffic cop actually enjoys his job and wants to be there, and he's going to answer some questions for us.
The problem I foresee that we're having, Nick, is now we're in 69 countries and we only have a traffic cop friend in Canada. So we have to start working on other places. I'm hooking one up here in Florida, so don't worry. But we have to go all over the world and find traffic cops so we can drive however we want.
Of course, in your case, of course, they're on speed dial. Okay, here's what we call in baseball the sweet spot. I know how you love baseball. Baseball is that great national pastime. You love baseball so much.
I hate baseball.
Oh,
It's
love
boring
baseball.
and I fall asleep.
No,
But
you
that's
don't.
besides
It's the
point.
best sport ever invented since, football. So there's a sweet spot. There's an increased chance of you hitting a home run when hitting the sweet spot on the bat. It is between 5 and 7 inches from the barrel end of the bat.
What the hell are you? Wait a minute. What are you explaining here?
No. I was pausing for dramatic effect. It sits in the area between 5 and 7 inches from the barrel end of the bat. When the bat makes a satisfying crack sound and there's less vibration, then it can be said that the player has hit the sweet spot to hit that home run.
Oh, okay, cool.
See?
Didn't know that. That was interesting.
See?
Soccer player or footballer, Stefan Schwartz,
Mhm.
Germany, Deutschland. Well, he signed to play soccer in Germany in 1999. And one of the major clauses in his contract was this bizarre thing that said he would be immediately released from his contract and lose any income from his contract if he ever went into space.
Really?
That was in his contract. Because at the time in 1999, there were a lot of people talking about millionaires going into space and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted that to be part of the contract.
So going back to your tease, you said, what did Alan Shepard take to space with him? Was it a soccer player? Is that the answer?
We'll find out pretty soon. But
did he smuggle a soccer player? Well, we'll find out later.
Nick.
Take me out.
Keep your soccer shorts on.
Take me out to the ball game. We all know that iconic song, Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Well, there were two American songwriters, Jack Norworth and Albert Van Tilzer. They wrote the song in 1908. Now, ironically, neither of them have ever been to a baseball game. So
No.
Still, that song, Take Me Out to the Ball Game, is played during the seventh inning stretch. And in some cases in the United States, did they still play God Bless America at seventh inning? Although you don't ever watch baseball. How would you know?
I don't watch baseball.
But they would sing God Bless America. But up here in Toronto, for example, which is where I am, and so at the seventh inning stretch, we'll play OK Blue Jays, which was a song that was written back in 1977 when the Blue Jays came into the American League. And then they go into the Take Me Out to the Ball games.
Okay, I got one for you, Nick, and you have to answer.
Okay.
In 1950,
Yes.
the India soccer team withdrew from playing the World FIFA Soccer Cup because they could not play barefoot. Now, listen, this is all over the internet. Is it true or is it false? 1950, India soccer team withdrew from playing the World FIFA Cup because they couldn't play barefoot.
All I know is that we had a special guest a few weeks ago, Joe DeRuvo, and he walked around barefoot for 20 years. So I'm wondering if he had something to do with it. No, I don't think he was born in 1950.
No.
So the answer is, was it agree or disagree? What was the question?
Is it true? Is the statement true or is the statement false?
Absolutely true, in my opinion.
It is false.
Oh.
It is very well believed that it is true. The India soccer team and a lot of other countries in 1950 withdrew for other political reasons, but they did play, some of their players on the 1950 team did play barefoot, and it was a controversy, but it had nothing to do with their withdrawal from the 1950 FIFA Cup.
There you go. Well, thank you for clearing that up. Have you ever collected baseball cards?
I hate baseball, Nick. Why would I collect the cards?
Well, I'm sure that many of our audience members, and I'm talking to you, studio audience members, all 69 countries of you, it is one of the most beloved things you do as a kid. You collect baseball cards. And inside the baseball cards was a stick of gum.
Yes.
And it was the Topps company, I think it was. So there was Brooklyn entrepreneur Morris.
There was Topps. There was two, Topps and Fleer. Fleer, Fleer.
Well, Topps is the one that I had as a kid, and it was a Brooklyn entrepreneur by the name of.
You heard it right here. Nick likes to be a top, but go ahead.
No. Top head. Brooklyn entrepreneur Morris Shorin had 4 sons: Abram, Ira, Joseph, and Philip. I think they were French. They revived the family's struggling tobacco distribution business by creating the Topps Chewing Gum Company. They actually borrowed the now famous Topps moniker from a small Chattanooga candy company of the same name that they bought. The name neatly doubles as their goal to be tops in selling penny-a-piece tabs of gum called changemakers, so those little sticks of gum. But in 1992, Topps removed those sticks of gum because the collectors were complaining that the gum and wax stained the cards. And when the resale value of these baseball cards were going up, the fact that some of the gum and the wax stains marred some of these cards, it detracted from their value. And so what they did was they removed the stick of gum out of Topps baseball cards.
Yeah, that's what they said, but they probably just couldn't afford to keep putting the gum in the cards.
Well, let me tell you this.
I don't believe anything.
So
I'm skeptical.
I know you are. You always are, but that's okay. You can be. But here's the thing. I checked a little bit further. The global sports trading card market size is expected to grow in 5 years, from 2021 to 2026. It's expected to grow by $6.71 billion U.S.
You do know my son collects cards. He collects very valuable football, mostly football. And the funniest part is I used to buy him packs of football cards for like $1.99 or whatever it is. Those same packs are like $20 now.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Exactly.
Cards of thank you, Joe Biden. Okay, my teaser.
Yeah.
My teaser. Alan Shepard snuck something on Apollo 14. I'm skeptical about this as well. We know he did it because we have video of it.
Mm-hmm.
But he snuck a golf club and 2 golf balls onto Apollo 14. He was the first person to ever play golf out of this world, so to speak.
Yeah, that's right.
He was the first person to play golf on the moon. In 1971, he hit 2 golf balls. Now, apparently and supposedly, the mission control down in Houston and all of NASA were very upset with him for sneaking the golf club and 2 balls on there because of the incident that happened with the previous Apollo mission, which we all know, the movie with Tom Hanks.
Right.
But anyway, so they were mad at him, supposedly.
Allegedly.
I don't believe it. I think it was a promotional stunt because nobody was watching the Apollo missions anymore.
What year? Do you know what year that was?
1971.
Well, that's not the first thing that was smuggled into space, because I remember doing research on this, and I know we're talking about sports, so just indulge me for a moment. In 1965, a corned beef sandwich was smuggled aboard Gemini 3.
Yeah, I think this is all media stuff, Nick.
No, it
I
was.
don't believe in that.
It was. Listen, it was hidden in the
Who
sandwich.
sneaks a corned beef sandwich on there? Was it lean? I love a lean corned beef sandwich,
It
and it's
was.
just.
Here's something lean and green. You're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. Thank you very much for joining us. Go to our website, nickandroy.com. Wait till you find out our next guest is Sean Shapiro is with the Traffic Services, the Traffic Cop. We'll get to him in a moment. But if you go to nickandroy.com and you go to the Nick and Roy store and you can order some birthday messages for your loved ones.
We get so many emails. First off, we're doing so many of these every week that we're starting to forget who we're doing them for. We used to remember every name, but now it's getting a little tougher, I will admit. But we do a special show just for that special person in your life. We do a little mini show for them. But go on nickandroy.com and go to the Nick and Roy store. There's a sample that you can hear. It is the greatest gift that you will ever get for someone. They will love you for it. They will freak out. They tell all their friends. For somebody that has everything, this is the ultimate gift. It's birthday messages, anniversary messages. Go on nickandroy.com. Again, go to the Nick and Roy store and take a look.
You're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy.
This is Totally Useless Vehicle Information with Nick, Meet, and Roy. Vroom, vroom.
How I got to be Meep, I have no idea. How he became Vroom Vroom, I'll never know either.
I've seen the video. I've seen the video, Nick. You go beep beep. I go vroom vroom.
Hey, joining us, I'm really excited today. So here's another one of my personal friends, one of our colleagues at radio, actually. He is the TikTok traffic cop. TrafficCop.ca is his website, and he's going to come on and talk to us about all kinds of weird and wacky laws around the books and crazy stuff people have done on the road. Please welcome. Oh, and by the way, Roy, I did actually not clean the studio this time, so I have to apologize for not cleaning the studio. You always criticize me for cleaning the studio.
You notice Florida is always so nice and neat, and up there in Toronto is a damn mess.
Yeah. Anyway, what a segue.
And Sean Shapiro is on the show.
Sean.
Yay.
Hello. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. This is lots of fun.
It's great to be had. You know, I think, wait, that didn't come out right. But I do have to say, Roy, that every time that I promote the show on social media, specifically LinkedIn, Sean is probably the first one. I haven't even written the final, didn't hit enter. He's already liking the post. That's how much
it's
of a
our
fan.
psychic connection.
It is. So I really appreciate all of your support. In fact,
a psycho connection? Is that what he said?
We are in 69 countries now, believe it or not, 69 countries around the globe. We're really excited. So Sean is coming on the board here today to tell us all about some wacky laws that are on the books, because people don't believe some of the stuff that we say, but these are we vetted out these facts. So you can tell us all about the wacky laws that you found that are still on the books that you can get a ticket for. Is that right?
Yeah, we'll talk about a bunch of different things.
Okay, well, let's kick it off with.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Sean, how long were you a police officer?
So I have a long list of time that I've been with the service. I've been with the Toronto Police for 23 years, but I did that as an auxiliary officer volunteering. Then I became a court officer, and I've only been a police officer for the last 12 years.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you have a lengthy background. So we can believe Sean.
Okay, yeah. So you're qualifying the guest. Is that what you're doing? Okay. He's qualifiable. Absolutely. Well, with all the years of experience, so in general, would you say that the drivers are better these days or worse, in your opinion, based on your information?
Well, it depends on who's listening. Generally, I think we've seen the decline in the quality of drivers. I think that it used to be something that was really important to a lot of people, and now it's sort of the thing you do if you got to do it. Many people just take the bus. We've got such a great infrastructure with transit that many people never need to do that, to get a license. So there's less emphasis on it.
Okay. So in turn, it deteriorates the quality of driving.
I think that's part of it. I think that Like when I turned 16, 9 a.m., the doors opened to the licensing place, and I was there to get my learner's permit. And now people are in their 40s and haven't driven. My wife doesn't drive. Her sister doesn't drive. My mother-in-law doesn't drive. So I'm the only driver, which means I drive a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Right.
Don't you wish Nick didn't drive up there? I mean, he's got to be bringing up the insurance rates, you know?
Just because the expression is, if you don't like the way I drive, stay off the sidewalk, doesn't mean it refers to me. How old were you, Roy, when you got your first driver's license?
I think we had to be, what, 7? Well, I got my learner's permit at 16, and I got my driver's license 17, but I was driving well before that. I had an illegal license plate on a 1970 Chevy Vega that was orange and white and gray, and there's a lot of colors.
Yeah, I see. Yeah. So Sean,
I paid $250 for the car.
Right. It's an illegal driver's license. Sean, his last name is Locascio. Okay.
I think the statutes run out on that.
That you? I'm going to put you on the spot. So, in your opinion, based on the information you've gathered over the years and all the experience that you have, who are better drivers, males or females? No, I'm just kidding.
No, don't put him in that spot. We all know that men are better drivers.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what?
Send your mail to nickandroy.com.
Yeah. Never mind trafficcop.ca. Nickandroy.com is where you send your complaints to. So, so kick us off here, Sean, with one of the wackiest laws that are still on the books that you can get a ticket for.
Sleigh bells.
Yeah.
Yeah, under the Highway Traffic Act, you can be charged for having no sleigh bells, because every person traveling on a highway with a sleigh or sled drawn by a horse or other animal shall have at least 2 bells attached to the harness or to the sleigh or sled in such a manner as to give ample warning sound.
See, I never leave home without my 2 bells.
Yeah.
You know?
He said bells, Roy. Bells. BELLS.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So if you're riding, so it's like that song Jingle Bells, that if you're riding in a one horse drawn open sleigh, whatever the lyric is, you would think I would know. So you get a ticket. How much is the ticket for not having sleigh bells, I wonder? And would it be a moving violation? Could you imagine? Your Honor, case 587439, the accused is charged with not wearing, not a seatbelt, but sleigh bells.
Yeah, you know what? The fine is not that big. It's $5.
Oh.
But when you factor in the victim fine surcharge, it does add up to a whopping $20.
Oof. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So here's some useful information. Always.
That's useful. Yeah.
Always.
Whenever you're out in your sleigh. Yeah.
Make sure you wear sleigh bells.
Yeah.
And on this show, Sean.
Do you have a lot of sleighs up there, Nick, in Canada? A lot of sleighs?
No, it never snows up.
Sean, have you given this ticket out to many people?
I am only aware of one person being convicted of this, and it's because a friend of mine in court, while negotiating a guilty plea, allowed them to plead down to an obscure charge, and that was it. And I think he did it just to flex, to be able to say he did.
Yeah. So the law wasn't obscure enough, but to make it an obscure fine, that's awesome. Okay, so it's just like when you're speeding and the officer is kind enough to put it down to like 15 kilometers less so that you don't get demerit points or whatever. I wonder if there are any demerit points on no sleigh bells on your sleigh, and maybe a lump of coal. Maybe that's your demerit point.
Yeah, amazingly, no demerit points, because it's usually associated with, not a motor vehicle.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, and plus the fact, how fast could they be going in the sleigh anyway? You know, I mean, really.
Okay.
You know,
well,
you got to have
has me circling back. It's my understanding that there's a 20-kilometer-an-hour speed limit on horses, but I've been unable to confirm that. So,
is it per horse? So you can go maybe 80 with 4 horses.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. That's horsepower.
I got one for Sean. I got something for Sean. Sean, do you know who the person is that got the first speeding ticket?
It's not me.
I do not.
It's not me. Don't say it's me. It's not.
Okay. Dayton, Ohio, circa 1904. Harry Myers got the first speeding ticket. He was traveling 12 miles per hour. I believe it was a 10-mile-per-hour zone, and he got a speeding ticket for doing a whopping 12 miles per hour. Harry Myers, Dayton, Ohio, 1904. Wild, right?
You know, now that you say it, I think I've heard that before.
Yeah, I think.
okay.
No, not maybe not on this. This is totally useless information. Didn't say we didn't repeat ourselves because, after all, the attention span of a goldfish is 2 seconds.
Well, I wonder if I heard it
What?
on your show or not. It sounds so familiar. Maybe it's your voice. You make everything sound like it's real.
Well, but there's a compliment. It's a great compliment.
That's all the used cars I sold.
He was a car salesman for years. Says you're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. Our special guest is Sean Shapiro. He is the TikTok traffic cop. And why do they call you the TikTok traffic cop, Sean?
Well, it's one of those things that our friend Jerry Agar labeled me with, is because I go live on social media every day, at least weekdays when I'm in the office and show up for work. I go live answering traffic and police questions on TikTok, and we've got over 600,000 followers now, so it's become a thing.
Wow.
Wow. Cool.
So
Give us another fact. Give us
Yeah.
another fact, Sean.
Another fact, do you know it's illegal to drive with someone in your trunk?
Yeah, I tried that in the Bronx years ago.
Yeah.
I think the fact that the person was not living anymore had something to do with it.
Wait a minute. So hold on. So never mind the condition of the body it's in the trunk. You're not going to get into trouble for whatever happened to that body. But the fact that it's illegal to drive around with a body in the trunk, that's the law.
Well, body adds another element of potential criminality, but just for having a person who is alive and well in the trunk is against the law and actually qualifies for stunt driving.
Yeah. Wow. That's why I hate SUVs. You can't cram bodies into them without somebody seeing it, unless you have one of those tonneau covers,
Yeah.
Those are always good.
To the lawyers out there, send your affidavits to nickandroy.com/Roy.
Okay, wait, I got one for Sean. I got one that Sean's going to love. So we did the United States. What's the first speeding ticket in Europe, Sean?
Now that I definitely don't know.
Okay, I got it. 1896. 1896. Now, I'm not sure what he was driving. It may not have been a vehicle. It may have been a horse. He was given a speeding ticket for 8 miles per hour in Kent, England. His name was Walter Arnold. He is the first European speeding ticket, 1896, 8 miles per hour. That is crazy.
You could really hurt somebody.
Yeah, 8 miles per hour.
So
you couldn't even yell at somebody. They could run up and smack them.
I was going to ask you, so 8 kilometers an hour, what is that in Canadian?
What,
Well,
8 miles
8 miles
per
an
hour?
hour is 12.8 kilometers per hour.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's not even enough to blow your hair. I mean,
Listen.
you guys don't know, but okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sean and I went to the same barber. We told him take a little off the top.
We are aerodynamic.
Aerodynamic, exactly.
Aerodynamic.
We are. Hey, together we put our heads together, make an ass. I don't know if you can confirm this, and if it's not, then we'll leave it in anyway. Is it illegal for a driver to text while you're in a drive-through in Ontario?
No, it's not. It's not illegal because the Highway Traffic Act, when it comes to cell phone use or distracted driving, only applies on the highway, which is any road. When you're on private property, you can text and be behind the wheel.
Okay.
Oh.
So I can use my phone while I'm in the drive-through.
Which is
You can actually order, Nick.
That's it. It doesn't make it any safer because there have been people who have rear-ended other people whilst on the phone, but it's not enforceable by the Highway Traffic Act. But there are some things that recently changed. We can talk about that. It's all falling in that stunt driving category.
Okay, well, go
By the way,
ahead.
I never told you what the fine was for driving with someone in the trunk.
Oh, I'm sorry. I beg your pardon. That's right. We went all over the place.
Oh, yeah. Come on.
That's
How
right.
much is that?
You know what?
Yeah.
You can probably charge us with reckless driving because we never finished that thought. Sorry. What
And
is
that
the-
poor person is still in the trunk,
Well, they have sufficient air, so we're okay. So here's the thing. It falls under the same category as if you were driving 50 kilometers over the speed limit, or if you were doing a wheelie on your motorcycle, or drifting or burnouts. It actually has a range of $2,000 to $10,000.
Whoa.
And right as soon as you're caught, it's a 30-day suspension on your license and 14-day impound of your vehicle, and you could even go to jail for up to 6 months.
And what happens to the body
Wow,
in the
that's
trunk?
pretty harsh.
Well, first they release the body out of the trunk, and then they impound the car.
Otherwise, bad things happen.
Yeah, that's right. And things begin to
exactly.
smell. Okay. Wow.
I would think I would think bad things had already happened for the person being in the trunk in the first place.
Now, I think those who
And
are
let me say, that's no way to treat your wife.
yeah, she's the GPS. I told you make a left here. So years ago, speaking of trunks, and I think they did this as a safety. I forget what year it was, but I think there's a law now that there has to be a glow-in-the-dark handle on the inside of a trunk.
So there's a release. I don't know about the glow in the dark part, but in terms of having a release so you can get out of the vehicle and pop the hood. And I think part of that had to do with people becoming trapped in their own vehicle.
Right.
Or it was.
You want to know something? You want to hear something really funny? I worked for General Motors, and we were talking to one of the engineers, and he said that red plastic thing is the release knob for it to get out of the trunk. So I said, "Who put that there?" He said, "We did." And I said, "Well, how much did you owe the mob?" And he never got it. He didn't understand the joke.
Well, what I was going to say is those who were involved in organized crime did not appreciate
Yeah.
that adjustment in
It's
the
like, gee, I
equipment.
wish there was one of those red knobs when I was in a trunk.
So here's a funny thing. You know, those in some of the modern vehicles, when you come to a stop, it turns off the engine.
Yes.
It's to
Yes,
save
I hate
gas.
them.
I hate them too. But you know, you can order a vehicle new with it not included, but they charge you money to take it out.
Really? Not here. I don't think here in the United States. Although Mercedes did something really smart. The part where you hit the button, like within not even a quarter of an inch is the button to shut that off. So the minute you turn your car on, you shut it off. It's like it's so ridiculous because it's like, you almost feel bad doing it because you're like, the environment, damn it.
All
I
right.
got one cool for Sean.
Okay.
So Sean, you're technically a traffic cop, correct?
I'm a cop who does traffic.
Okay, great. So
He
the
qualifies.
first traffic cop ever hired, this one I love because this was a hard one to find. I do not have the person's name, but there were 3 of them hired at the same time. In 1722, the Lord Mayor of London appointed 3 men in London to be traffic cops to stop the horses going crazy over London Bridge. They were speeding over London Bridge on their horses, and they hired one to stand in the middle, one to stand at the front, one to stand at the other end of the bridge, and you had to obey the speed limits with your horses. And that's how the traffic cop comes to, 1722, Lord Mayor of London appointed 3 men.
I wonder what they said. Was it just whoa?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Did they have horses? Were they on horseback? Did they run?
No. What happened? They didn't have sleigh bells. That's the problem.
That's
what
where
No, they had-
it all started there.
They said, "Watch this." They put out a carrot. The horse stops.
Yeah.
You're under arrest.
That's a great segue to my next question. So usually in TV and movies, if a detective or a cop does something wrong or whatever, they get sent off to traffic service. You can become a traffic cop. So what happened, Sean? Did you piss off your
What'd you
boss?
do wrong?
What'd you
Sean?
do,
What did I
Sean?
do wrong? It's funny. I think that traffic is the best kept secret in the entire service. There's a belief that traffic does boring stuff. All they do is,
Yeah.
write tickets, but it's the most fun you can have. And I think the best place where you can work, but I'm a little bit biased. I was asked when I transferred from the division I was working, they said, "I hope you like driving, 'cause that's all you're ever going to do." I'm like, well, actually, I do like driving.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's worked out really well. But they have motorcycles.
Yeah.
You're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. Our special guest is traffic cop, TikTok traffic cop, Sean Shapiro, and you can find him at trafficcop.ca. Trafficcop.ca. So in all the years, and just a few moments here before you're off to write your next ticket, all right, everyone's going to ask you this. Everyone's going to ask you this, right? You can tell us, Sean, no one's really listening. Never mind the 69 countries, and we're coast to coast to coast in Canada. We'll just between me, you, and Roy, okay? We'll whisper.
It's just us.
Just us. Okay. Is there a quota that you have to meet every month when you write parking tickets? Just
Well,
between
I don't
us.
write parking tickets because parking tickets is the parking people. They're actually civilians who do it. I don't know what they do, but when it comes to traffic tickets for
Yeah.
actual driving offenses,
Yeah.
no. Now, I write as many as I can because I keep trying to get the free toaster. I've yet to receive a free toaster. I haven't got a vacation to Florida. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
No,
there
just-
is no quota.
For those of you who tuned out of that previous few moments, welcome back to the show. There is no quota.
I will tell you this, Sean. In Florida, I have been pulled over maybe about 3 or 4 times. I was pulled over once for going through a stop sign that I couldn't see. There was a big bush there. I couldn't see it. And the police officer was super nice and super lenient. And he said, I'll let you off with a warning, you know. Then I was pulled over, and this was the funniest thing ever. I had just bought a Maserati, and I was driving it the first time. And that car is so loud and everything. And I was driving, I guess I was going a little fast. But anyway, the police officer pulls me over. I don't have my driver's license on me. My wife doesn't have her driver's license on her. And he still let me off with a warning. I thought that was the nicest police officer I have ever met. He was just a super cool guy, and he knew I wasn't messing around. You know, he's just a nice guy.
So,
But the Florida police are very, very nice in general. We just really ticket mostly tourists.
I'm glad you asked that because that was one of my questions. So, out of province visitors, okay? So, out of province visitors that they come around and they violate whatever. So, when you write them a ticket, does it go to their jurisdiction? How does that work?
So now with the magic of technology, they know pretty much everything right away. They can search things, especially if they're on the same type of computer software, because now we all use the internet and stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, when there's a conviction, that conviction is generally going to be reported back to your home province or state.
So you can't get away with
So
it.
you guys use the internet. Nick and I still use Progresso soup cans and with the string attached
string,
to it.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's a bitch to pull that string 1,500 miles. Let me
Yeah.
tell you.
With sleigh bells attached to them. And because we're Italian, it happens to be minestrone soup. Go figure. And a rolling stop for or against it.
Well, it's not a stop. There's all these wonderful stories about explaining stops. People tell me they stop all the time, and I have all the video evidence of them just rolling through. Myself, when I was doing enforcement, rolling stop, if it was reasonable, if it was just that they didn't come to complete lack of movement, well, they may not get a ticket. But I've seen people pass other people slowing down for a stop sign to run the stop sign.
Wow.
So
No,
I've
that's
even
just
followed
nonsense.
people. Oh, it's
Yeah,
unbelievable.
they deserve it. They deserve it.
Listen,
I followed one chap. He ran the stop sign like just 15, 20 kilometers an hour. I have to convert that for American for you, but
it was fast.
miles
Yeah.
per hour. But he did 15, 20 kilometers an hour through the stop sign. I pulled out to pull him over. He ran the stop sign afterwards, and I just watched him for a little bit. He ran 3 stop signs. He was delivering sushi to a local place, and yeah, he got a careless driving charge because that was just, he had no idea where he was, what he was doing. He was just looking
Wow.
for an address on his GPS.
And is it true that pizza
Yeah.
drivers are the worst offenders of breaking the laws because they want to get that pizza delivered in 30 minutes?
I
right?
delivered pizza. I didn't break any laws doing it, and
Oh.
I've never had an issue with pizza drivers. I've had an issue with some people on e-bikes that are delivering food, but that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think the food deliverers really care.
I think the best tip I heard you say on the radio, Sean, when it comes to stopping, you want to make sure that you stop properly when the vehicle is stopped and it actually rocks back and forth, right? So
Right. So the transfer of weight when you're slowing down goes to the front wheels, and when it rocks back to the rear wheels and stable and flattens out, that's when you know the vehicle's no longer in motion.
there you go.
And that's what I'm looking for if I'm really scrutinizing. But I'll tell you, I'm so impressed when
Okay.
people even stop now. If they come close to stopping, I'm impressed because it's just we see so much bad driving.
So when you pull somebody over, what does the police officer expect from that driver so that not that you go easy on them, but you take favor to it? Not, because I'm not saying you don't want to give somebody a ticket for doing something wrong, but what is it that a police officer is looking for?
20
So-
bucks.
so how
Or
could
you
you-
yourself is
20
looking
bucks.
for?
20 bucks in the hand, no?
Definitely not 20 bucks. Bad idea.
No.
Don't do that. It's a
No,
good way to
yeah,
get
that's a
arrested.
good
But I'll
Yeah.
tell you what, the number one thing that I'm looking for when I pull someone over, aside from the license, ownership, and insurance and all that jazz, is someone who's honest, who's polite and honest. If it's If it's just being, you know what, I absolutely taking ownership of what they did, taking responsibility. The people who tell me that I didn't watch them for the last 45 seconds typing on their cell phone because I could tell them they were ordering a pizza. Like we're watching, we're making observations, whether it be driving observations or things they're doing inside the car. And when they tell us that they didn't do what we said they'd tell them that we're saying they did, they're calling us liars. So that doesn't go well. But if you actually admit to what you were doing, and I've had lawyers say, well, you should never admit. We can't actually use an admission, at least not in Ontario, of you saying, yeah, sorry, officer, I shouldn't have done that. We can't say what you said in court.
Right.
They'd strike it. So if someone's honest with me, they apologize, and that's it. That's the best way. You may still get charged, but at least that's the best chance.
Yeah, right. At least, right. Yeah, it's a good experience. I'm
good
just
candidate
building a
for policing.
profile like a police officer.
So, Roy, what did you say? Roy's not a good candidate for what? Because he was
For
yapping.
policing, I think he might be a source of complaints. I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
Yeah, he's the type of guy that, if he were in the police force.
I'm a better detective.
Yeah, sure.
I'm building a profile, Nick. You see
Yeah.
how I'm building the profile? I'm building the
Exactly.
entire thing. Yeah.
All I know is that if you ever want to find out more about all the wonderful things that Sean Shapiro does, the Traffic Cop, go to trafficcop.ca, trafficcop.ca, write that one down, and then you can ask anything you want. He has really been fabulous with his time today. If you want to check him out, what is your handle on TikTok?
It's Traffic Services is the main police account. That's where we have over 600,000 followers. But I'm VoiceOver Cop on my personal one. So I have different content there talking about the life, the universe, and everything on my other channel.
Beautiful.
It's all at trafficcop.ca, though.
Sean Shapiro,
Yeah.
thanks once again. We'll connect with you another time. We can come up with some more zany laws that are on the books, still on the books, and also maybe some stories as to some sob stories and ways people try to get out of tickets. Thank you very much
I've
for
got
joining
tons
us.
of those.
You're listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy.
Throw away your totally useless GPS. It's time for geography. So get lost with Nick and Roy.
Do you trust the GPS, Nick?
Yes, I do.
See, I'm too much of a skeptic, Nick.
yeah.
I don't even trust the GPS. Yeah, did you ever say they say turn left, you turn right, they say recalculating, and they still get you there, Nick. They
do.
still get you there.
They do. Speaking of getting there, we want to thank Sean Shapiro once again for joining us on the show. That was really fascinating stuff, the obscure laws that are on the books. And it doesn't matter what jurisdiction you live in. It's really obscure. I mean, imagine going down on a sleigh without sleigh bells, and it's in violation. I never knew that. So we learned lots of stuff. So thanks.
I had something I wanted to ask Sean, and I forgot. I wanted to ask him, what if your GPS is very adamant about you making a left? You know how your GPS says, make a left now, make a left now.
That's right, yes.
And you go through the stoplights. Can you blame it on the GPS? I mean, my GPS is pretty intimidating.
You know what they'll say to you? Grow a pair, will you? Here's...
You could change the voice on your GPS. My wife has this English guy.
Yeah.
Okay, I had a woman's voice, but now I put what's on the thing as Mad New Yorker.
What's the matter with you? Forget about it.
You better turn now. I'm telling you, make a right. What's with this guy? He ain't listening. Make a right.
Listen, I just had an idea. If you in the audience would like Roy and I to record some directions for your GPS, because you can upload them, go to nickandroy.com, contact us, and we'll do some kind of sort of deal. We'll make a deal.
What a moron. He doesn't even know where he's going.
Yeah.
You need us to tell you everything, don't you?
Make a left. No, the other left. Here is my teaser. What is a city block? Why do they call it a block? In Chicago, for example, a city block has a very specific definition. 660 feet is one block. So 8 city blocks in Chicago is equal to 1 mile. The numbering reflects this in that at the beginning of each city block, the numbering increases by 100. So, for example, Chicago Avenue is 800. And 8 city blocks 1 mile north is North Avenue at 1600 North. Now, I was a foot messenger in New York City in my teens before I joined Roy in the restaurant and worked for his father in the restaurant. And I used to roam the streets of Manhattan, but on purpose. I was delivering packages. And I knew back then, and I confirmed it, that in New York City, it takes 20 blocks to make 1 mile. because in Manhattan, a north-south block specifically runs approximately 264 feet, and 20 of those creates 1 mile.
And this is why I had him get out of that and come to the restaurant, because I knew that Nick was never going to get any sexual prowess at all while counting steps in New York City.
1 mile at a time. Yeah, that was my version of the Mile High Club.
One at a time.
Yeah,
That's all, Nick.
that's it.
One at a time.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I figure we joke around. We call it TUI University.
Right.
Because a lot of people send us emails every week. We get emails from people telling us how they learn English from our show. They've learned so much.
Oh,
They
yeah.
learned more from our show than they have from college. So I thought this show, I would do a little TUI University stuff.
Okay.
And here we go. What are the names of the 7 continents?
Oh.
I'm giving the audience a chance.
Yeah.
Nick, do you know the names of all 7 continents?
I'm in continent, so no, I can't help you right now. Asia.
And
okay,
you know, yeah.
Okay, without me looking
Go
at
ahead.
it, honest to goodness, I'm not looking
Yeah.
at any computer. I have
Yeah,
my
go
eyes
ahead.
closed. You can see me.
Asia's one,
Asia, Africa, Europe,
right?
North America,
Yeah.
South America, Antarctica. How many is that? 6? And Australia.
Nope. Australia and Alaska.
Or Alaska is a
It
continent?
should be Antarctica. It should be Antarctica.
Yeah, I
It
said
is
it.
Antarctica.
Yeah,
What the hell
okay.
am I talking about?
That's right.
Australia and Antarctica. Yes,
Yeah.
those are the 7 continents.
So I got them all right, didn't I?
Asia. Yeah, I was trying to keep up because they're out of my order. Asia, Africa, North America, South America,
Uh-huh.
Antarctica, Europe, and Australia. So I know we do use this information, but that is for everyone around 69 countries around the world. Those are the 7 continents. So
That's
give
right.
yourselves a big round of applause.
There you go. Well, listen. Maine is the pine tree state. That's all I got. No, I'm just.
Ooh.
Maine
It
designated.
is the Pine Tree State.
It is. Maine designated the white pine cone and tassel, the floral emblem in 1895. The white pine, also the state tree of Maine, is considered the largest conifer in the northeastern United States. The nickname, the Pine Tree State, and Eastern White Pine appears in the state flag, seal, and Maine quarter.
All right, ready? What U.S. state is home to no documented snakes? They have never documented a snake in this entire state.
You mean they're like illegal snakes, like illegal aliens?
It
Royalties
makes
for that.
sense when I say it. It's going to make a whole lot of sense. Alaska. It's so cold there, reptiles don't live there.
Oh.
They're cold-blooded animals. They need the warmth to survive. So there are no documented snakes. And so if you're afraid of snakes, Alaska's the place to go. You'll probably get eaten by a polar bear, but what the hell?
Now, the famous Ellis Island, where just about every immigrant who came to the United States over the years went through Ellis Island, it was once called Oyster Island. The first people.
Oh, really?
The first people to, yes, really, because I said so. The first people to utilize the island were Native Americans. They visited Ellis Island because it contained large oyster beds, which was an important source of food. As a result, the Dutch referred to the island as one of the 3 oyster islands in New York Harbor, Ellis Island.
Do you remember on one of our shows we were talking about how oysters and lobsters were once poor people food?
Yes, yes.
I love that one because first off, I love oysters and lobster, even though my cholesterol level doesn't.
Right.
But oysters now are so damn expensive, and you probably get poisoned by eating them. But yeah, you get hepatitis by eating them.
Yes.
Okay, and not that that's funny, folks.
No, it's not funny. Hepatitis is not funny.
All right, I said to myself, Roy, no, I said Self.
Self?
I said, what's the smallest country? What's the largest country? What's the longest river? I often ask myself these things and then need to find out, not just for myself, but for people all around the world who I love and admire.
Yes.
So, what is the smallest country in the world? Well, we actually had it on the show.
Vatican City?
It's Vatican City.
Thank you.
Vatican City. Yes.
Now
Give
that-
one to Nick.
But that's not because
he listens to the show.
Well, Yeah, you can say that. No, because I remember it was not long ago in the news. They were talking about the different countries. I think someone was stumped on a trivia question, and they thought the Vatican City was a country. See, the way I would have,
It is.
but what I would have,
It is.
I know, but they didn't the way that they answered it. But the way I would have written the question, not your question, but if I were to write trivia questions, which city is a country?
Ah, there you
Vatican
go.
City.
That's
See, trick question.
one too. Yeah.
All right.
What's the largest country in the world?
Brazil.
You know, a lot of people would say Brazil.
Yeah.
I thought Brazil at first too. Largest country in the world is Russia.
Oh,
Russia is the largest country
by
in the world.
landmass.
What's the longest river? The longest river in the world, and I'll even give you a hint. It's in Africa.
Okay, hold on. Let's go back to
The
Russia.
longest.
Let's go back to Russia. You mean
Yeah, okay.
landmass? Is that what you mean by the largest country by landmass?
The largest country by, I would assume, landmass.
Okay.
Yes.
The longest river is in Africa. Oh, the River Nile.
Go, very good, Nick.
Really? Oh,
Nick,
wow.
you're on the ball today. It is
Yeah.
the Nile River, and you know what the screw up is? Most people don't realize. They think the Nile is in the Middle East. They don't realize
Or
that
Egypt,
the
yeah.
part of the Middle East, what they think is the Middle East, is actually Africa.
Right.
So yeah. So yes, the longest river is in Africa, and it is the Nile River.
Oh, so what do I
Yes.
win?
You win. Well, I'll tell you the truth. We no longer have the free man-made underwear to give away.
Right.
Although I'm wearing mine today, so I feel cool and comfortable.
Yeah, I bet you do. Hey, you're cool and comfortable by listening to Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy. Thank you very much for joining us. Hey, you can send us an email. All you have to do is go to our website and click on Contact Us.
What's in the mailbag? What's in the mail?
It's like you win a contest every time you go to nickandroy.com. I mean, really.
Yes.
There's pictures of us, there's fun stuff. By the way, folks, if you go to nickandroy.com and you click on the Nick and Roy store, there's also our newsletter, which I think this is the third month now that we've put it out.
Fourth.
People are flipping out about that
month.
too.
4 months.
It's the fourth one, Nick?
That's right.
Fourth one, yeah. So the fun part about our newsletter is it's really, if there are some things like the show where we do have some crazy information on it, but it is more personal with Nick and I. We tell you personal stories about ourselves and things that we did, and it's just a fun, great read. It's an awesome newsletter. So go on nickandroy.com and sign up for our newsletter. The mailbag, Lana, Lana, I believe it's Lana, right?
Okay, yeah.
Lana from Dubai, Arab Emirates,
Mhm.
which is one of the newer 69 countries that we have.
That's right.
She says, your show has taught me so much. I have told all my friends to listen and learn about so many things. Thank you from the Persian Gulf, Lana from Dubai. I thought that was a nice one.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lana.
My mailbag comes from Elsa from Lincoln, Nebraska. Dear Nick and
Ooh.
Roy, we love listening to your show every week. Thank you for sharing all of the useless information. But I have to tell you that you would have to really be smart for you to know all of that useless information. Thank you. I think.
We actually do.
Yeah.
We actually, I'm scared at how much of this I remember. And it really is frightening because I go through facts and I'm like, we did that already. We did that.
But look
We
at
did that.
But look what happened during our segment with Sean Shapiro. You mentioned the fact, and it's like not because it was on the show before, it's because we knew this fact. It's
What are you
unbelievable.
talking about? Sean said, I knew this. I heard this somewhere. I think it was your show.
That's right. Yeah. See, listen, laugh, and learn. Even a traffic cop. So
Yeah.
here's my question. Elsa asked, "My husband used to smoke. I know, Roy, you used to smoke.
Yes.
Did you ever do this?
I
Did you
smoked a lot.
did you used to flip one cigarette with the tobacco side up? Did you ever do that?
You know, that used to be called the lucky cigarette.
Okay.
You'd open the pack, you'd flip one over.
Okay, so she asked, my husband used to smoke, and I remember how he used to flip one cigarette, as you said, with the tobacco side up. I was wondering where that practice came from. Do you know where it came from, Roy?
Absolutely not. Now I'm interested.
I'm going to learn you something right now. Okay, listen, laugh, and learn. Is that what we tell people? In World War II, troops would get Lucky Strikes cigarettes in their rations, and each cigarette was stamped with the brand's logo. It's believed
Right,
that
on one side.
it's believed that those fighting either in Europe or the Pacific would flip every cigarette in the pack except for one. That way, when a troop sparked one, they'd burn the stamp first. This is before they had filtered cigarettes. That way, if a troop had to drop the cigarette for any reason, the enemy couldn't quickly determine the country of origin and identify mark as quickly. The identifiable mark that was on there would quickly turn to ash because that's the first thing that they smoked. The last cigarette was the only exception, and if you survived long enough to smoke it, you were considered lucky.
Lucky. Oh,
you
my
go.
God. That's a good... Nick, I got to give it to you. That's the one of the show.
Well, thank you. Well, thanks to Elsa for asking that question. And yeah, when I first read this, I thought that's really wonderful. We're lucky. You know what, Elsa, and everyone else in the 69 countries around the world, you're lucky to have us. On the show today, if I can say so myself.
That was great. That was a good one. I like that one.
Thank you. On the show today, we talked about sports. We talked about cars with Sean Shapiro, our TikTok traffic cop. Thanks again, Sean, for joining us. We talked about geography. It's time for the news.
And now, from around the corner and around the world, this is TUI News.
This story is not from Florida. So sorry.
Is this from Washington, D.C.?
No, Atlanta police have arrested a man accused of stealing luggage from people at the airport. The police said that Craig Nelson, not the actor, was arrested and charged him with theft by taking, unlawful removal of baggage, and criminal trespass. Police found him using technology left in one of the bags. Jamil Reed recalled a moment where he returned back from Atlanta from L.A. when he met the man who took his luggage. This guy, he says, stole my luggage. I have about $3,000 worth of stuff in there. I'm going to baggage claim and all that. I'm trying to look for my luggage, he explains, and I'm standing there for 30 minutes and couldn't see his bag. Then he realized that the bag was gone, so he decided to check his tracking device. He put one of those tracking devices in his luggage, which I think is a smart thing to do these days.
Very, very smart.
Eventually, I
Yes,
pulled
yes.
my phone out, so I have an air tag in my luggage. After I had seen that it was not at the airport, it was actually in Grady, which I don't know what that is, but it was not where he was. Reed then saw the air tag heading back to Hartsfield Jackson. He contacted airport security, pulled out his phone, and followed the tracking device. It led him right to the suspect. That's when he confronted the thief. The silver one there, I have a tracking device in it, and I tracked it to you, and you have my shirt on. So, and my
Wow.
shirt, and my jeans. So never mind that the guy had $3,000 worth of his stuff in the luggage. He's ticked off because he's wearing his shirt and jeans.
Yeah, I don't like anybody wearing my clothes, you know, especially when I'm in them.
Yes, that would be problematic.
Listen, Nick, this is a true story that you probably don't know up in Canada. But there is a person from the Biden administration
Yeah.
who is head of some department. I don't know if you know who it is, but this person was in the Biden administration. He was head of the department. He was either a transgender or a cross-dresser.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly which one. Not that there's anything wrong with either.
No.
But this is where he went wrong. He would track people at the airport, and he would steal their luggage if he felt that they had like fashionable designer wear for women.
No.
He is a man, and he would then take the clothes and go to chic events wearing these really expensive clothes.
Wow.
The problem is he stole a bag that had a designer in it who does one-of-a-kind designs. And then she sees him on TV wearing one of her designs. And she said, this is the best part. She said, here's a picture of me wearing it. That idiot wore it backwards.
That's even worse.
I'm thinking, was it to hide the bump? I don't know.
We're not sure. Well, here's the thing, though, and we've all experienced this. You go to the luggage claim, right? Anybody can walk straight
No,
in.
Nick, I've never experienced dressing like a woman.
No,
I'm
not
sorry,
that
have
one.
you?
No. So that wasn't you, is what you're claiming. So you walk in straight.
Not that there's anything wrong with it, Nick.
Not at all. So the thing is that you can possibly take somebody's luggage and walk out, and no one would ever know. Like it's impossible for you to know whether that's your luggage. Like,
Isn't it the dumbest thing ever? We wait online to give them the luggage. They place our name all over it like a damn billboard.
Yeah.
And then they throw it onto a thing that everybody gets to pick it before maybe you. If you're at the end of the line, 30 people can steal your luggage.
That's why
before
people
you get it.
crowd by the spot where the luggage comes down, right? But in any event, speaking of traveling, we're out of here. This is all the totally useless information that we have for this week. Don't worry, we will scour the internet and other sources as well as our
So,
staff.
Nick, we need to follow Ralph Lauren around and steal his luggage.
You mean Ralph Lifshitz, if you remember, that was his real name, Ralph Lifshitz.
Did he? Yeah.
All right, okay.
I don't believe you, Nick.
There you go. Ralph Lauren was Ralph Lifshitz. Okay, don't you listen to the show?
I didn't doubt you for a minute, Nick. I
Listen, laugh, and learn. We'll scour the internet and we'll gather more totally useless information just for you.
So until then, don't hang out with Ralph Lipschitz. Until then, you tell everyone you know about this show. We are growing so fast, and it's because of you. And it's because of all of our listeners, and we're so thankful in 69 countries now. Again, go to nickandroy.com, hit on the Nick and Roy store, look at all the cool stuff we have there, and we'll see you next Thursday when we drop a new episode.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Roy.
Thanks for listening.
Totally Useless Information with Nick and Roy is a production of nickandroy.com. Visit nickandroy.com to access the full library of episodes or wherever you get your podcasts.